Hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon. Actually, it's midday today, and it is Monday. I can't believe it's Monday already. Monday, April 21st. Hey, Dee, how are you doing? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I can't believe I'm saying happy Monday. I actually slept in late today. I did. I slept in late today. I guess I needed it. I was up late last night. But anyway, that's the way it is. How is your day doing? Oh, can you hold on 1 second? I've been waiting on this call. Hold on 1 second. It's my doctor. Sorry about that. I've been playing phone tag with my doctor. I had to take that. So if I don't answer them and they leave a message, God, they're so hard to get a hold of. But anyway, got that straight. But thank you and hello, H. Davis. Hello, hello, hello. And Pebbles, good afternoon. Janice, good afternoon. Trooper's mom, hello, sunshine. Hello, Stephanie Williams. Hello, hello, hello. Nice Marie. Betty Smith, hello, and Miss Grace. Love you all. Love you all. Hello, hello. So I hope everybody's starting out their day and having a wonderful Monday. Mary Harris, everybody coming in. Um, it's a beautiful day. I kind of get a little behind when I sleep late, but anyway, we're going to do this. And Nice Marie, hello. You're ready to, let's see, I was just ready to watch your video from later last night. Guess what? I'm with you live. Amen. Amen. That's okay. You can go back and watch it later. It was a pretty good live last night, I think. Pretty good. Pretty good. Um, let's see, Christy S. And Terry Parker. Good morning. Good morning. You took a 2-day rest from YouTube, Trooper's mom. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Sometimes you just got to walk away for a little bit, even just for your own sanity, you know, just for your own sanity. Oh, last night Janice was good. Hey, Lady Q. Love you, ma'am. How you doing, honey? Let's see. You can't stay. You have to have an appointment. Well, I hope everything goes good with your appointment. Many, many, many prayers to you. I love you, and I'm so glad to see you stopping in. I love you very much. You know that, my friend. And thank you. Thank you. Hey, Betsy. Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Holly. Hello. Hello, hello. Yeah, sometimes we just all need a break. Look, I was trying to get caught up on my General Hospital last night when I did finally go in there and lay down. And because I stayed up so late, I didn't even get through the first part of it. I didn't. So guess what? It probably played every show because I record them. It probably played through every show, and I got to go back and watch it, watch all of them. Excuse me. So that's that. But today, yeah, yeah. If I could take a break, people will be texting me and emailing me. Yeah, that part never stops. It don't. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee. That part never stops, but that's okay. Um, it is what it is. So today, this probably won't be a very long live, but I did want to talk to you about a cold case that is solved. And wow, wow, wow. It actually was sent to me this morning, and I got to looking at it. Hey, Sue and Lorraine Law and everybody coming in. Tina Girl. Hey, hey, hey. What y'all doing? Hey, hey. And it was solved. It was interesting to me because it was solved by a podcast. And I want y'all to drop this podcast. The podcast name is Somebody Knew Something. And this is a 42-year-old case that's now solved. And I'm very, very glad that it was solved and that they get to get closure. The mom is 90 years old. 90. Can you imagine? My goodness. So the mom is 90 years old. She got to get her little ring, and it was just really a bittersweet story. But the sister got to speak, but the brother, he's a little bit kind of more bitter, but he just wished it would have happened sooner. But yeah, thank God. Yeah, it gives you hope. It gives you hope, but it's 42 years old. Let's just take a look. Go ahead and take a look. Full credit goes to News Nation. Let me put on a little bit of music here. Let's see. I might put on music here. Hold on a minute. Lord have mercy. Me and my damn buttons. Where is... Oh, there it is. Okay. Turn it down. All right.
"42 years. That is a long time for somebody to be missing. In fact, tomorrow, April 16th, is the very date back in 1983 that marked the last time Karen Scheepers was seen alive. She was 23 years old, hanging out at a bar with some people that she worked with at a bank near Chicago. And at about 1 a.m, Scheepers got in her car, headed toward home, never arrived. Police used every tool, technique they had at the time to try to find her, but after a couple of months, they had no leads, they had no clues, no hope of finding Karen Scheepers without a miracle. Turns out that miracle was coming. It just had to take 4 decades. Just this year, back in January, the police department in Elgin, Illinois, launched a true crime podcast hosted by 2 real detectives, hoping to get fresh eyes on some old and very cold cases, beginning with Karen Scheepers' disappearance. And amazingly, tips just started pouring in. The podcast detectives went to work. And the very first cold case mystery they spotlighted, mystery no more. Divers found and pulled Karen Scheepers' car from a river 6 miles from the bar where she was last seen 42 years ago. And yes, her remains were inside.
42 years.
Joined now by the heroes of this case, Detectives Matt Vartanian and Andrew Houghton from the Cold Case Unit of the Elgin, Illinois Police Department. Together they host the podcast called Somebody Knows Something. How appropriate is that
Please
title?
drop their link.
Thank you so much. And Elgin, sorry, my fault. Elgin.
Okay.
I apologize.
Thank you for
forgive me. Matt, I want to start with you. Thanks so much for coming on. Matt, I mean, this episode drops in January. 2 months later, you solve the case. I mean, where do you go from here? That's a major breakthrough.
Yeah, we are in the process. We still have a couple months left of this case. So we have roughly 3 to 4 additional episodes that we're going to continue with this case just to try to get additional answers for the family the best that we can. And then we're going to take a breath and just try to figure out what's next for us. We want to make sure, as we said, the family deserves these answers. So does Karen. So let's get the answers if we can do that. It's just a matter of waiting on a few different things with the case.
And I want to pull this up. We have the moment when the car was actually pulled from the Fox River. We'll show it right here, because my understanding is you were both there. And you, when you looked at that, you were giving Karen's family personal items you found in the car. What was that like for the family? And what was that like for the 2 of you for this moment?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty emotional moment for everyone. I mean, being able to give some of those items back to her mother, who's 90 years old, was just really great. it was a nice way to kind of bring everything full circle. We were able to give her mother a birthstone ring that Karen wore every day, and the 1977 class of Sycamore High School tassel, like the metal part of her tassel that was hanging from the rearview mirror. We recovered those items, so we were able to give them some things to kind of remember her by. So that was really great.
And it gave him a sense of closure. My gosh. Matt, what was different this time? Why was it solved in 2025 as opposed to 1983? And let me ask you this. Any theories about what happened to Karen?
Yeah, so we wanted to be as thorough as we could be with this case. We took it over roughly about October of last year, and we always knew that we were going to search the bodies of water. When we knew that she was at the bar, that was the last confirmed location that she was at. We knew that her house was on the east side of Elgin. So when we looked between those 2 points, we knew that there were several bodies of water in between them. The biggest being the Fox River. We had no official documentation in our case file that showed that there was ever any type of bodies of water that were being searched or anything like that.
And Matt, do you have an idea of what happened to Karen? You have a theory?
Yeah, so we are still looking into that. We had a Toyota master technician come out and look at the vehicle. We had some of our accident reconstructionists look at the vehicle as well. So we're waiting on those reports. We're also waiting on the reports from the coroner's office as well. So once we get those reports and we, kind of have a better idea of, what we think happened, we want to be able to rule out things that we definitely think didn't happen as well. So we want to be able to, make sure we have everything in front of us before we can make that, determination, because that's what the family really deserves that, It's been 42 years. I mean, her mom is 90. To be able to give her some closure to this is just truly, it's profound for both of us.
And Andrew, how did the podcast help?
Yes, T-Bone. Absolutely, they
So
were.
our chief came to us with the idea of doing a podcast. Neither of us had ever done that. So it was kind of a apprehension, I guess, initially, kind of, hey, I guess we can try this. And so we did. And I think a couple of ways the podcast helped was initially it generated some tips because it was a different way of doing things. It helped us get people that maybe worked with her that were never spoken to or remembered her in different capacities. It also allowed media in the area to kind of pick up our story of what we were doing because it was something that was unique. And so we generated tips that way as well. People that saw us on different regional, news, newspapers, things like that, because we were doing this podcast, media outlets kind of thought that was an interesting thing and picked that up as well. So those were helpful ways for us to get information.
And Andrew, was it those tips that led you to say, hey, let's contact the dive team?
Yes and no. So we had a retired officer, Mike Goff, who had followed this group called Chaos Divers. They self-fund and take donations only. They don't charge law enforcement. They don't charge families. They do this for the right reasons. They just come out and help. So he had put us in contact with them. But some of the tips we got regarding the different routes that she could have potentially taken, we talked with people in her neighborhood that said one of the routes that we had identified as possibly being one that we thought she could take was definitely a route that was well known for people in the area. It was an area that would potentially flood. We got a lot of information about like where fencing was and things like that at that time from people who had listened to the podcast. So that was really helpful. And then hooking us up with Chaos Divers, we had looked at 6 different theories of what we thought could have happened to Karen in our case as we walked through the podcast. One of those theories was that she potentially crashed into a body of water or somehow her car ended up in a body of water. So that was something we were always going to look at.
Right.
But getting information from people helped us kind of dial in where we wanted to do that.
Matt, real quick before I let you go, what are you going to do next? The Zodiac Killer? I mean, you guys you just solved this major one. What's the next case?
Yeah, we're going to go through our case file. It's more than likely probably going to be a homicide. With this case, Karen's case was such a unicorn for us because we didn't know what happened. There's so much that we could put out there because we didn't know if it was an accident, if it was something intentional or something in between. So we just wanted to be transparent. And that was the goal. Like, it was never to be exploitative of this case or any of the cases that we'll do in the future.
Sure.
We just want to get the answers for the victims and the family as well. So we're going to take a couple months and we're going to take a look at that.
Well, listen, great work. Congratulations on the podcast. Congratulations on solving this. And I know the family must be so appreciative. Detectives Matt Vartanian, Andrew Houghton, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for.
So full credit to News Nation, but drop the podcast. Somebody knew something. They are a new podcast that I guess they just got involved in January, from my understanding, and also Chaos Divers. But I don't know if Chaos has a YouTube page or not, but if they do or they have something, please drop them as well. I mean, this case back from 1983 was solved, and yes, we need them to come to Tennessee. Absolutely. Absolutely. They need to go to Tennessee. And, you can write in to this Somebody Knew Something podcast. I was reading, they do get emails on other cases and stuff. So what they would take, I don't know. But you can write into them and request, I guess, that they can look at Sebastian or something. Now, whether they will or not, I don't know. But it never hurts to have a fresh set of eyes. Can you imagine 42 years is now solved? Somebody Knows Something podcast. Again, go sub up. But Karen, she was 23 years old when she went missing from Carpenterville, Illinois. She and her car was pulled from Fox River. Divers Tuesday pulled the 1980 Toyota Celica out. Y'all seen that? I mean, wow. That car belonged to Karen, and they found her skeletal remains in there. Crews spent hours, they said, hours trying to properly latch and secure the submerged car before even trying to lift it up with a crane out of the river. That was they said about 2:48 p.m. Now, this is called Chaos Divers, and they are a nonprofit group who specializes in searching for missing people in the water. I don't think it would hurt anything, like I said, for, new eyes. I really don't. Right, Grace. Me either, probably. Although I pray to live to 100, but you know how that goes. And sometimes unanswered prayers are the best. I don't know. Anyway, but there was they used sonar equipment to spot the car, and they realized that the license plates was her, and that the car matched the Celica that belonged to Karen. After they pulled it from the river, the Kane County Coroner's Office, along with forensic pathologists, said those were the skeleton, they said that there were skeletal remains in the car. They were skeletal remains. The next step will be to compare DNA samples or dental records, and that could take a couple of weeks, but they have no doubt that this is Karen. Karen was last seen April 16th, 1983. What was it to the day that they found the car? My God. When she left a bar around 1 a.m. after a party that she had with coworkers. And I guess also, too, she was never seen again, her or her car. But I guess she had a fight with her boyfriend as well. But they think she just drove into the water after leaving the bar. Now, please credit Cold Case Detectives podcast with finding Karen and helping them generate leads in her disappearance. So they really did help. They helped a lot. They helped a lot. Yep, Whispering Winds, absolutely. So they do have a podcast. Is that right? So they're good at what they do. Yeah, if y'all can just drop their link as well. I mean, because, that's what I said, Betsy. Bless her mama's heart. She is 90 years old. Can you imagine what she had to live through all these years? The wondering and the not knowing. That right there would drive you insane. The wondering and the not knowing. But they credit them, the police credits them with generating the leads, this podcast, and in her disappearance and finding her. And she was the subject of this podcast, Somebody Knows, produced by England Cold Case Detectives. And that's, the podcast. I really want to stress that because, again, these podcasters and YouTubers, they get a bad rap. But these people sure was in it, for the right reasons. It was a fresh set of eyes. They started this in January, March, April. This is April. I forgot February, January, February, March, April. So within 3 months, they found her. They found her. But alone, this podcast sparked a whole new interest in this cold case, and she was found less than a mile from her home. Did y'all know? I was always told, like when I go on trips and stuff like that, even my mom told me, my grandma told me, everybody told me, I was always told, be careful because you're more likely to have an accident within a mile or two from your home. Be careful. I think, I don't know. I think that is true, and you should be more careful because you're always trying to get home quicker or something. And if you think you made it, you could have more problems. Hey, Brandon E., good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. But I think their episode was on the podcasters. I think it was March 17th is what they said when this all broke out or happened, or where they show this part. Karen's family did not think it was realistic she was still alive, so they did understand that. Her sister and her brother spoke. Her sister said enough time has gone by, but I'd love to know what happened to her. I'd love to have closure, she said, and I would love to have closure for my mom. Now, Karen's brother said he just wished they would have looked harder in 1983. He's the one, he said she had a fight with her boyfriend and she left and took off. Her brother said he remembers, see, people never forget. Kids never forget. And, he was younger at that time too. I'm not going to say he was a kid, but I'm just saying. Well, thank you, Lady Q. And please remember, good luck. I wish you much good luck. Many prayers. Love you to pieces also. But just, he remembers, the brother remembers that their father searched for Karen by plane, and that when she went missing, I don't know, somehow he got a plane and he searched, and he remembers investigators did not do that. That's what he said. That's the way he views it. That's the way he remembers it 43 years ago. But as today, he said there is no good outcome. He said at least it's not 100% good outcome, and I know he's glad too that they got closure for the mom, but you can tell he's a little bit more bitter, and brothers are more protective of their sisters, so I can understand that. The cold case detective said it was unlikely anyone ever searched the river, but even if they did back then, they didn't have the equipment that they do now. But I'm just personally glad, I'm just personally glad that they found her, and that the mother, I'm glad everybody has closure, but I'm glad that the mother got closure on this. And I'm glad at 90 years old, if her time should come, she can go knowing what happened to her daughter and where she's at, and she can rest a little bit, she can rest in peace. And I'm glad that she got Karen's ring and her little thing she graduated, her little tassel. That's very heartbreaking. Very, very heartbreaking, in my opinion. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that to you. Because you never know. But just because something also is cold, don't mean it's not going to be solved. Exactly. Most of the time, these cold cases need a different set of eyes. You got that right. You got that right. Hold on. Hold on. I was trying to find something. Hold on. Let's see. Uh-oh. Stop. Sorry. So, yeah, hold on. Okay, so I'm fixing to put this in here. Hold on just a minute. I guess this is the podcast. Hold on. In case y'all couldn't find it. Hold on. Right now, it looks like they got 9 episodes. Someone knows something. Hold on. Blank. Well, shoot. So it looks like that's the podcast right there. But the link is in there. But anyway, y'all look at that. Go look at their stories and all that. And yes, I wish they would do Sebastian's. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I praise God too that she's been found. And just like others, Karen did not deserve to be laying there in that water. I don't care what the circumstances are. Everybody deserves to be found if they're missing, and everybody deserves, if they're not with us anymore, a proper burial. Families need closures. Families need answers. And, people does know stuff, and they do need to come forward. So I am too, Miss Grace. I'm just thankful for answers. But in the meantime, I'm going to go. I'm going to still work on some things today, and I will probably see y'all later today sometime. Again, I am working on some things, and I will see y'all, I'm sure I'm going to try to start coming on here a little bit more. But I wanted to share this with you. I just thought it was interesting. And there's always hope. Remember that. There's always hope. So never give up hope. Absolutely, Troopers Mom. I agree. See, that's the only thing that scares me about wearing seatbelts as well. it's a catch-22. You know, when my husband had his wreck, when he ran off the mountain, when he almost died, they told him at the hospital if he would have been wearing a seatbelt, he would have been dead. And that stuck with me so long, and it scared me so bad. It took me forever and a day to wear a seatbelt again. And then, you know, of course, my mom, she wouldn't be caught dead without a seatbelt. And she's kept instilling it in me. Because, of course, it's the law, you know. But now, you know, I always wear my seatbelt. But it's just the fear of a doctor telling you that, the police not writing a ticket, and then you think that was my greatest fear was, okay, he went off a mountain, but what if I went in the water and I couldn't get out? Or what if my vehicle got in a fire and I couldn't get out? And that was my fear, you know. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's a bit kind of scary. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to do what the law is. So there's that. I encourage everybody wear their seatbelts, because 9 times out of 10, it is going to save your life. So there's that. But I am just glad that, again, this mom, brother, and sister got, yeah, exactly, Brandon, that too, that part too. I'm just glad that this family knows what happened and they don't have to wonder. So I thank you all, and I'll see y'all maybe in a bit. Y'all have a great day and enjoy this beautiful weather. Thank you. Bye. Love you.